All right, we're jumping right in today with a theory that connects some absolutely incredible dots. We're talking government secrets, high-level whistleblower testimony, even cosmic prophecies, and it all seems to point to a world that's right on the brink of a massive transformation.
You know that feeling you get sometimes, that everything is just speeding up, that the old way of doing things is starting to crack at the seams? Well, the source material we're digging into today says that feeling is totally spot on. The idea is that the world has hit a kind of breaking point, like a pendulum that's swung as far as it can into the negative, and it's about to swing big time back in the other direction.
So that's what we're going to explore first. This idea that the chaos we're all seeing and feeling, what if it's not random at all? What if it's actually a necessary, maybe even a deliberate part of a process that's leading us somewhere completely new?
And really, this is the big question at the heart of it all. The source material frames our current moment not as some tragedy we just have to get through, but more like a mystery that we're supposed to unravel. And the answer it gives, well, it's pretty out there.
The argument goes like this. For us, as a planet, to make a really clear choice about the future we want, we first have to see everything that's broken. I mean, everything. All the hidden corruption, all the dysfunction has to come out into the light. The thinking is, the more obvious the negativity gets, the easier it becomes for all of us to look at it and say, nope, that's not what we want, and finally choose something better.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. According to the source, this great unveiling isn't just about things like political or financial problems. It's about pulling back the curtain on a hidden reality, a secret so big it could literally change everything we think we know. So let's take a look at what that might be.
Okay, so at the center of this hidden reality is this really compelling guy, Dr. Stephen Greer. And this slide kind of says it all, right? On one side, you have the boots on the ground, grounded in science, emergency room trauma doctor. And on the other, you have the founder of the Disclosure Project, the guy who's literally briefed a CIA director about UFOs. The source we're looking at says it's this very contrast that makes his claims so hard to just dismiss. So here's the core of Greer's argument, and it's a big one. He says the huge secret about UFOs isn't being kept by the president or by Congress. He claims there's this rogue, transnational group that operates completely outside the official government, and they answer to nobody. And its evidence for this, he says it comes from an archive of over 750 high-level military and government insiders who have worked on these secret projects.
So you have to ask, why all the secrecy? What could possibly be so important that you'd allegedly threaten top military officials to keep them quiet? Well, according to Greer, the real secret isn't, ooh, aliens exist. It's their technology. We're talking about things like gravity control and zero-point energy, technologies that would make oil, gas, and coal completely obsolete, practically overnight, and turn the entire global economy upside down.
Now, just let this number sink in for a second. The source makes the incredible claim that humanity mastered gravity control technology all the way back in 1954. I mean, if that's even remotely true, it suggests that the entire fossil fuel economy we've lived in for the past 70-plus years has been, according to this theory, an artificially constructed reality.
Okay, so that just begs the question, right? If this secret is 70 years old, why in the world would it be coming out now? Well, according to the source, that dam of secrecy that's been in place for decades, it's finally starting to crack. And it's happening at the very highest levels of government.
It starts with little breadcrumbs like this. And this isn't just some guy on the internet. This is a program manager for the Defense Intelligence Agency. And he wrote this in a book that had to be cleared by a Pentagon security review. So a statement saying the US has a craft of unknown origin basically got an official stamp of approval.
And then you add another layer? An astrophysicist who was an advisor on that same program tells a congressional briefing in no uncertain terms that the craft they've recovered are not of this Earth. I mean, there's not a lot of wiggle room in that statement, is there?
So with all of this testimony swirling around, a sitting U.S. Congressman, Eric Burleson from Missouri, decided, okay, enough talk. He didn't just go to the press. He made a formal request to the absolute highest levels of the U.S. government to see it all for himself, the alleged craft and even the biological material.
And here's the kicker. They said yes. The White House and the Department of Defense actually approved his request. Think about that. This means a door that has supposedly been sealed shut for decades has just been unlocked for a sitting member of Congress. And his first site visit is already on the schedule.
Now this is where the whole theory takes a really fascinating turn, because according to another part of our source material, this time from a channeled entity people call Bashar, all of these shocking government events, they aren't random.
They're actually happening right on time as part of a much larger, pre-planned cosmic schedule.
And this right here is the core prophecy. The whole Great Unveiling is predicted to hit its peak in 2026, which the source calls the year of disclosure. And it's not just about aliens, it's about secrets in our financial systems, political systems, you name it. That then leads to 2027, the supposed beginning of open contact, which in turn sets the stage for the potential of a truly united planet by the year 2050.
But you might be wondering, why roll this out over decades? Why not just land all the ships tomorrow and get it over with? The reason given is to avoid something called ontological shock. It's basically the psychological state you'd enter if your entire understanding of reality was shattered in an instant. The claim is that to avoid a total societal meltdown, this whole process has to be gradual, a slow drip of information over an entire generation.
And the theory goes even deeper. The source claims that the beings orchestrating this whole plan aren't on some far-off planet. They're supposedly part human, and they're already living here, among us. They're called extraterrestrial hybrids, and the idea is they've been integrated into our society to help prepare us for all this from the inside out.
So after all that, what does any of this have to do with you and me? This final section is where this huge cosmic story comes right down to a personal level. It's all about our individual role in this alleged global transformation.
So the source doesn't just lay out this wild prophecy, it actually offers a kind of practical toolkit. It's this 5-step formula for creating the reality you'd prefer to experience. And the whole point is to shift us from being passive observers of what's happening to becoming active co-creators. And, as the source points out, step 3 is the tough one for a lot of people, having absolutely zero attachment to how it all turns out. And this really gets to the engine that drives that whole formula. The idea here is that your excitement, your passion, that feeling you get when you're doing what you love, it isn't just a hobby or a nice feeling. It's described as the literal signature frequency of your true core self. And following that feeling is the main way you raise your own personal vibration.
And that right there brings it all together. The theory basically says that this massive global shift isn't something that's just happening to us. It's being driven by the collective energy, the collective frequency of every single one of us. Which means your choice, in this very moment, to live with more joy and authenticity is presented as your direct personal contribution to building that new future. So that leaves us with one last thing to think about. If this future the source describes as a collective choice, not some guarantee, then the most important question isn't what's going to happen in 2026 or 2027. The real question is, what reality are we, you and me, all of us, choosing to create right here, right now?